as told by Madeline Reeve, retired teacher, age 62. You're not going to believe me, and I don't expect you to. Hell, if someone had told me this same story 5 years ago, I'd have laughed it off as campfire nonsense. But this isn't some old wives' tale. This happened. I lived through it, and not everybody was as lucky. I lived in a little town called Dagger Brook, tucked deep into the Pennsylvania woods. It's the kind of town with one church, one gas station, and a diner that still does hand-patted burgers. Everyone knows everyone. You leave your doors unlocked and your porch lights off, or at least you used to. The first sign of trouble was small, insignificant even. Cats started going missing, then a few small dogs. At first it felt like the kind of thing you post about in the town Facebook group just to vent. You assume coyotes, maybe a bobcat. Lord knows, we've got raccoons the size of Labradors. But it didn't stop. It got worse. After a week or two, people started noticing how quiet the nights were. Not peaceful quiet, wrong quiet. No crickets, no frogs. Even the owls stopped calling. The air would go still, and you'd feel this pressure, like something was holding its breath, waiting for you to let your guard down. I saw it for the first time on Tuesday. It was late, maybe close to midnight. I was washing dishes and happened to glance out of my kitchen window. There was this shape moving along the back alley behind my house. Huge, too big to be a man, too fast to be a bear. It moved in this unnatural way, hunched but swift, like it knew how to stay just out of the light. All I really saw was a thick shadow, but it walked on two legs, with a gait that was all wrong. Its arms were too long, its head hunched forward like a dog sniffing something out. I should have called the sheriff, but what would I have to say? Instead, I started watching. I bought a pair of field binoculars, the kind birdwatchers use. Every night, I sat by the upstairs window with the lights off. I started logging the strange things, torn up trash bins, deep claw marks on backyard sheds, trails of blood without a body in sight. After 2 weeks, I knew it wasn't just random. It was hunting, not for food, for sport, or maybe for fun. Whatever it was getting bolder. Then one night, I got my confirmation. It was close to 3 a.m. I had almost dozed off when I heard this sound, low guttural breathing. I peeked through the curtains, and there it was, standing in the alley, no more than 30 feet from my house. This wasn't some shadow. It stood upright, nearly 8 feet tall. Its skin was tight over muscle, covered in patchy dark fur. Its head, God help me, its head was the worst part, like a wolf but wrong. The mouth was too wide, the eyes were yellow and aware. Not just some animal looking for food, it knew it was being watched. Then it smiled. I swear to you on everything I love, it curled its lip up like it was amused. I dropped the binoculars and backed away. Didn't sleep a second that night. After that, it started circling the house. For 3 nights straight, I heard its claws creep along the siding. I smelled its stink, wet dog and copper, like blood and rain rot. Sometimes it would tap on the windows just lightly, like it wanted me to know it could come in any time it wanted. I didn't dare call the sheriff. Who would believe me? Besides, I'd seen what it did to the Landers' German Shepherd. They found the poor thing torn clean in half on their front steps. I started sleeping with a gun under a pillow. I salted the windows, called up old folklore, wore a silver cross I'd inherited from my grandmother. I don't even know if it helped, but I was desperate. Then it came. The night it attacked, the moon wasn't full. That's one thing people get wrong. Werewolves aren't chained to the full moon. Not all of them anyway. Some are cursed in ways the old books don't explain. It hit the back door just after midnight. The frame cracked like it had been hit by a truck. I barely had time to grab the gun and run upstairs. I locked myself in the attic, praying the old wood would hold. The thing broke in. I could hear it downstairs, snarling and breathing heavy. It thudded around like it knew the layout of my house. Then it started coming upstairs. I was crying. I'm not ashamed to admit that. I thought I was dead. Then something changed. The moment it reached the attic door, it stopped. I heard it sniff. It made this huffing noise, like it was confused or frustrated. And then it turned around. I waited there holding my breath until the sun rose. When I came down, the house was torn apart, claw marks on every door frame, a trail of black fur leading back to the woods. I thought that was the end of it, that maybe it had just lost interest, but I was wrong. A week later, I got a package in the mail. No return address. Inside was a necklace, an old one, silver, with smooth pendant, and a note. Keep it on, it remembers. I still don't know who sent it or how they knew, but I wear that necklace every day now. No one talks about what happened in Dagger Brook. The disappearances were chalked up to wild animals. A few people moved away, the woods grew a little too quiet. But I know the truth. There is a reason I moved downstate, a reason I keep silver buckshot by the bed, and the reason I never, ever ignore the sound of something tapping on my window at night. Because the beast is still out there, and it remembers me. As told by Eli Granger, former volunteer fireman, age 58. You might laugh when I say this, but something evil once lived among us, right here in our little slice of nowhere, Stoll Hill, West Virginia. Blink and you'll miss it. 2 gas stations, a feed store, and the church where Pastor Miles still preaches hellfire every Sunday. But this was worse than hellfire. It started with people going missing, not locals, at least not at first. No, it was always someone passing through. Hikers on the Appalachian Trail, tourists stopping for gas and deciding to take the scenic route, the kind of folks nobody missed right away. Sheriff chalked it up to bad directions, maybe accidents, hell, even black bears if you asked him after 2 drinks. But then a local boy vanished, 12 years old, gone while riding his bike just a mile outside town. That's when I knew something was wrong. And before you roll your eyes, no, I wasn't drunk, I wasn't high, I wasn't looking for ghosts or monsters. I'm a plain man, raised here, worked in the firehouse for most of my life. But my granddad used to tell me stories when I was a kid. Stories about things in the woods that weren't animals. Things with teeth that could wear a man's skin if they wanted to. I remembered those stories when I saw the boy's bike. It was half buried in the creek bed, tire bent like it had been stomped. But there weren't any drag marks, no blood either, like he'd just vanished. So I started watching, not the woods, not at first, the people. Something didn't feel right. People were scared, but not the usual kind of scared. It was quieter, like something unspoken hung in the air. You ever feel a room get cold when someone steps in? Like all the joy just drains out? That's how it felt whenever he walked by. His name was Nate Doran. Moved into town about a year before the first hiker went missing. Rented the old barn house on Hawthorne Road. Said he was writing a book. Polite, soft-spoken, always wore gloves, even in the summer. Folks said he was just odd. I said he was off. I started keeping a journal, logging sightings, times of day, dates people disappeared. You know what I found? The disappearances lined up with the moon. Not just the full ones either. I'm talking waxing gibbous, waning crescent, the kind of patterns only someone who grew up with old folk tales would recognize. And Nate? He'd vanished from town on those same nights. I once caught him standing in the tree line just before dusk, shirt off, eyes glinting yellow. Thought it was the sun playing tricks on me, until I saw his back covered in thick scars, deep ones, like claw marks. The kind of man doesn't survive unless he's something else. I went home and dug through my granddad's trunk, old hunting gear, salt rounds, silver coins, even a yellowed book full of notes written in shorthand and blood. According to that book, there were rules. A werewolf can't be killed by just silver alone. You have to trick it, make it reveal its nature, corner it while it's weak, and for God's sake, don't let it touch you. The bite or the blood both carry the curse. So I waited. It was early November when I made my move, cold enough that no one asked questions when I lit fires. I rigged the barn house with tripwires and laced the chimney with wolf's bane. Hid silver fillings in his doormat, where he tracked them unknowingly. And every day I left offerings of meat outside the tree line, small ones, squirrel, rabbit, just to keep it curious, just to build a pattern. Then came the right night, dark moon, no wind. I knocked on Nate's door, just past sundown. He opened it slow. I remember the way his eyes glinted, the way he sniffed the air. He didn't say anything, just looked at me. "You know what you are," I said. He smiled. What happened next is hard to describe. The change isn't fast. It's like watching a body forget how to be human. His bones cracked loud enough to echo. His teeth split through his cheeks. His spine bent backward, and fur burst through his skin like it had been waiting. I could smell rot and copper and something ancient underneath it all. I hit the switch and lit the barn house. The whole place went up in seconds, but I wasn't done. He burst out through the side wall, on fire and howling. I hit him with a silver-tipped bolt from a crossbow. Not in the heart, in the leg. Granddad's book said the heart was too easy. It needed to suffer, needed to know it was being killed. It limped toward me, crawling on one good leg, mouth full of smoke and teeth. It tried to speak. I think it said my name. Then I fired again, straight through the eye. It collapsed, twitched once, then turned to ash. That was 4 years ago. Since then, no one else has gone missing. The woods are quiet again, but in the normal way. Birds sing, foxes scream. The town sleeps with their doors unlocked again. No one ever found Nate's body. They called it a gas leak, said the house exploded. I didn't correct them, but I kept the journal and the crossbow, just in case something ever crawls out of those woods again. Because monsters don't just die, they wait. As told by Dale Harper, age 63, farmer, Arkansas, Ozarks. People think the real threats out there are coyotes, maybe the occasional bobcat if you leave a hen house open. They'll warn you about tornadoes or summer droughts, but they never warn you about the old things. The things with eyes that shine like coals and teeth that don't belong in a man's mouth. My name's Dale Harper, born and raised on this land, like my daddy and his before him. It's quiet out here, just me, my cattle, and Brutus, my German Shepherd, best damn dog I ever had. This started back in the fall of '09. Nights were coming earlier, and something didn't feel right. You ever wake up knowing something's watching you, even though the curtains are closed? It was like that. First week of October, I lost a heifer. No blood, no tracks, just gone. Thought maybe a poacher, until I found half her spine hanging from a tree 2 days later. Clean cuts, like she'd been skinned and torn in half, but nothing a coyote could have done. Brutus wouldn't go near the edge of the tree line after that. He'd stand stiff, tail low, nose twitching like there was a fire only he could smell. By the third week, I was missing 2 more cattle. The second one I found, well, not all of her, just the head. The tongue was missing. The jawbone had been cracked like a walnut. Something big did that. I don't spook easy, but I didn't sleep right for a week. Then came the night it showed up. I just put tools away in the shed. Brutus was doing his usual rounds when he started growling. Deep and low, the way dogs growl when they are warning something, not threatening it. I stepped outside, rifle in hand, and I swear the wind stopped. No crickets, no owls, just silence. Then I saw it. 7 feet tall, if it was an inch. Black fur, like oil-soaked wool. Eyes like burning coins. Its mouth was too long, too wide. Jaws full of teeth that didn't make sense. It moved like it was half crawling, half standing, like its body couldn't decide what shape it was supposed to be in. It was heading straight for the barn. Brutus bolted. He slammed into that thing like a truck, teeth first. They rolled through the dirt, yelping and snarling and tearing at each other. I fired once, then twice, missed both. They moved too fast. It flung Brutus against the fence, hard. I thought he was dead, but it didn't stay. My third shot must have grazed it, because it turned and ran back into the woods, screeching like a man caught in a bear trap. Brutus limped over, bleeding from the side, fur torn. I wrapped him in an old quilt and drove to the vet in the next town. Broken rib, torn skin, cracked leg, but he'd live. That dog is a fighter. That's when the strangest part happened. As we were walking out of the clinic, Brutus locked eyes with someone on the street. A tall man, pale, wearing a long coat and gloves. Never seen him before, didn't look like he belonged. And Brutus? He lost it, barking, snarling, dragging me toward him like a rabid thing. I had to hold him back with all my strength. The man didn't flinch, just looked at us, gave a thin smile, and walked away, calm, too calm. Back at the farm that night, I couldn't shake it. Brutus never barked at anyone like that, not drunks, not strangers, not even a damn raccoon. But this guy, he didn't just bark, he hated him. And that's when it hit me. The stories my granddad used to tell by firelight about skinwalkers and werewolves that could pass as men by day. You can scoff if you want, I used to too, but I didn't sleep that night or the next one. I started reading, digging through old books, websites, anything I could find. Turns out there's still people out there who believe in this stuff. Said werewolves hunt in cycles. Said they're hard to kill unless you've got silver. So I got silver. Melted down my late wife's old candlesticks. Cast my own bullets. Took me a week. Burned my fingers more than once, but I made 6 of them. Just 6. That's all I had. I waited for the next full moon, November 2nd. That night I didn't sleep. I waited with Brutus in the barn, lights off, rifle loaded. Hours passed, just wind and quiet. Then it came. It moved through the trees like a shadow with claws. I could hear it breathing, wet and heavy, like something with too many lungs. It stepped into the pasture, sniffing the air. I raised the rifle. It paused, and then it charged. I fired once, hit its shoulder. It screamed like a person on fire. Second shot hit its gut. It stumbled, but it didn't fall. It kept coming. And then it was on me. Claws raked across my arm. I went down, wind knocked out of me. It reared back, mouth open wide enough to swallow my head, and Brutus launched out of the shadows. He sunk his teeth into its throat. They tumbled together, snapping and howling. I scrambled to my knees, aimed, fired again. The third bullet hit its eye. It convulsed, spasmed, like it'd been struck by lightning, and fell to the ground. Brutus backed off, bleeding again, but still standing. I watched that thing change. It was like the meat and skin just peeled away, leaving a man behind, pale, tall, wearing a long coat, even in death. Same damn man Brutus barked at in town. Sheriff called it a bear attack. Didn't ask too many questions, just told me to get some rest and keep my gate locked. He doesn't believe in monsters. But I do. Brutus still limps, but he's alive. Sleeps by my bed every night now. I buried that thing deep in the woods, poured salt over the grave, set fire to the site. I don't know if that's how the curse spreads, but I wasn't taking chances. So, you ask me why I don't trust strangers? Why I watch the woods every full moon? Because I know what lives out there, and if not for the dog, I'd be dead.